Well, here we are again. It's the end of the week. It's actually Friday, the 9th, the day that I'm recording this for broadcast this coming Sunday, the 11th at 9 p.m., the usual time at KPCA FM. Okay, so my play-in music. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Oh, it's good to be woke. It's so good to be woke. It's so good to be woke in the morning. As I've said before, the goal of these Midnight Skeptic broadcasts on KPCA LP, locally at 103.3 FM throughout Sonoma County, and worldwide at kpca.fm, and on YouTube, which it'll be on YouTube hopefully tonight when I get it downloaded. You can watch my YouTube broadcasts at any time, but locally it's Sunday at 9 p.m. Here in Sonoma County. Okay, the reason I'm doing this, and it's the purpose of what I'm trying to do in my own little unique way, is to rid this country of all Republican MAGA heads, conservatives, and various types of haters who worship their God King, who is, as I've called him every time I speak of him almost, the orange sociopathic bloat bag. This broadcast is my little effort toward this end. Okay. There was a online message, and I forget who posted it, but his real height is 6'1". He claims 6'3" or even 6'4". He resents his youngest son that he had with Melania for being a very tall kid. And his weight, he claims 215, and the reality is it's 270. Now, I have no way of confirming that, but it sounds like something that he would make up. He's very image conscious, shall we say. Okay, screw him. Okay. The shout-outs. Let me start with Mickey Huff. Excuse me. Sip. This is orange juice, by the way. Mickey Huff and his two cohorts at Project Censored, Nolan Higdon and Andy Lee Roth. Every year they put out the state of the free press and the year. Well, this is the state of the year 2024. Go to their website, Project Censored, and when I checked their website, there was a hyphen between Project Censored and .org. Okay. I'm not sure whether that matters. I'm, as you all know by now, very low tech. And if something goes wrong with my equipment or something online comes up that I don't quite understand, I always have my engineer, my audio engineer, video engineer, IT guy that helps me long distance. Okay, so Mickey Huff. And go to Project Censored's website. Okay. And Ralph Scott, who I hope is continuing his efforts to resurrect the Petaluma radio players. It was a fun thing to do way back when, and it's been, since before the COVID meltdown that I was part of it. But we put on some radio plays live at Hotel Petaluma, among other venues, and it was a good group of people, and he's attempting to get it restarted again. So good luck, Ralph Scott. Okay, Art Kuznets, John Crowley at the Aquas Cafe, and on the 29th at the Aquas Cafe, this is a leap month, so there's 29 days in February. At the Aquas Cafe is at 4:30. Drinks with shrinks. And there's other events going on at the Aquas Cafe. Look them up online. Okay. And Tom Gaffey at the Phoenix Theater. The Phoenix Theater caters to the alternative teens. And most of the music groups that play there are, I don't know, I'm not up on my modern genre of music, but grunge, rock, metal, all of that, okay, is played there for the benefit of alternative teens. And Tom Gaffey is sort of the kindly uncle to all of these kids. He's a good person to have managing the Phoenix Theater. Okay. Tim Conrad, an extraordinarily good photographer. Tom and Nancy Throw. Kevin and Lori. And Lori, you've got a 75th birthday coming up. So I will wish you a happy birthday on every show up to that point. Dave and Rosita Takach in Sacramento. Rich and Kathy in Sebastopol. Dennis and Megan in Tiburon. Yvonne and Rick in San Francisco. Stan and Kathy in Pacifica. Aunt Jackie and Samantha and Melanie, her two daughters, and they're down in the LA area. My brother Brandon and his wife Mina in Arizona. And Andrea, their daughter, my niece, she's a nurse there in the Phoenix area. I forget which hospital. And her husband Tim and their three little, they used to call them terrorists, but they're getting a bit older for that now. I think the oldest is either 8 or 9 now, and they're into sports, Little League and soccer and all of that kind of stuff. Okay. And in Arizona, in Patagonia, the snake lady, Karina Hilliard, who is a skeptic, as am I, and that's where I met her about 5 years ago, I think. I went down to Las Vegas to Skepticon, a gathering over a whole weekend of the skeptic community. Okay. Arkansas, Shannon Reed. She used to be from Petaluma here and worked as a massage therapist at a spa there in Sonoma. Down to Florida, Nelson and Alice Lydell. Nelson is a retired United States public health officer, And his specialty was breathing apparatuses, masks, and et cetera, et cetera. It couldn't have come along at a better time, except that he was retired before the COVID came along. But he's sent me a lot of information about masking and types of breathing apparatuses. Okay, and still in Florida, Amelia Beamer, who is an editor and writing coach, and look her up on YouTube. Go to Locus Magazine, Locus. She makes an announcement about what the magazine is featuring in their monthly issue. Locus is a magazine of the horror, fantasy, and science fiction genres. And she'll tell you all about it. Okay. And Dr. Dave Rubin in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, who has transitioned into being a great artist. And he's selling his works online. Look him up. David Rubin Art, I believe that's the site where you can see some of his work. But he was the world's greatest pulmonary physician. Okay? And Long Island, Geraldine Goldfinger. And then back over here on the West Coast, the Sonora Crowd, Robert Finnegan, Bob and Sandy Fisher. It was nice seeing you all again last weekend. And their two kids, Martha and Brad, Dora Larson, Judy May, Kathy Francis, Lynn Quayle, John Gleason and his two daughters, Tiffany and Jennifer, and then all the way down in Mexico City, Rosamalia Lopez Negrete. Hola, Rosita. Okay, let me flip ahead to actually what this program is going to be about. February is Black History Month, and nobody needs a history lesson more than Republicans do. Okay, here I am. One of these days, I'm going to get my notes organized. Okay. In my missive on my Facebook page, where I talk about what I'm going to talk about on this show, on my Midnight Skeptic rants, I said, and I called Dr. Joseph Ladipo a quack. Well, I stand by that, and here it is. Dr., and this is not an earned title, Joseph Ladipo, the Ron DeSantis appointed Florida Surgeon General, is a clownish anti-vaccine quack. I have talked or you can call it ranting, about him on previous shows. He has questioned the safety of COVID vaccines despite overwhelming evidence that they are safe and effective. He has promoted Trumpist treatments, hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, as cures for COVID, despite the lack of any evidence of their effectiveness or safety. This month, and I'm talking January, is when I wrote this. This month, the end of January, in a public advisory issued January 3rd by the Florida Department of Health, he declared COVID vaccines, quote, not appropriate for use in human beings, unquote, and counseled doctors to halt, quote, the use of COVID-19 mRNA vaccines, unquote. COVID infections have been surging coast to coast. Last January, that's, I guess, 2 Januaries ago, a faculty committee at University of Florida Medical School found Ladipo engaged in, quote, careless and irregular, unquote, research. Bad research is worse than no research at all. Are you listening, Mr. Quack? Okay, if by some stretch of the imagination, Joseph Ladipo, Surgeon General of Florida, is listening to or getting wind of this, come after me. I'm calling you a quack. Okay. New topic. West Virginia moves closer to being a theocracy. West Virginia Senate Bill 280 allows the teaching of intelligent design in their school system. And part of what it says is, quote, no public school board members, principals, or superintendents can prohibit a teacher from discussing or answering questions about scientific theories, about how the universe or life came to exist. Senator Mark Maynard wondered if the phrase scientific theories was too restrictive. Another bill, Senate Bill 152, would require the motto, quote, in God we trust, unquote, to be displayed conspicuously in all classrooms of public elementary, secondary, and higher education schools in West Virginia. Evangelical Christians are trying to sneak their idiotic beliefs into our schools. And Republican MAGA heads have the nerve to say that they are, meaning liberals, are trying to indoctrinate school kids. They never say indoctrinate as to what beliefs. Well, here it is, the opposite of what they're griping about. All right. I've said over and over ad nauseum that religion is the cause of all ignorance, strife, wars, violence on this planet. And I stand by that. Okay. Here's an example, another one, as if I needed to work very hard to dredge these examples up. Islamic clerics in Pakistan force a biology professor, Sher Ali, capital S-H-E-R, capital A-L-I, to read a prepared statement renouncing evolution. Also, a quote within what he was forced to read, quote, "A woman's intellect is comparatively less than that of a man from the perspective of Allah's Sharia." Now, I've said some nasty things about the Islamic faith before. I am not an Islamic an Islamophobe, but a lot of their beliefs are counterproductive to the human good being and are hateful and ignorant. I stand by that. It's no worse than evangelical Christians or some of the stupid Jewish fundamentalist beliefs. So I stand by it. But anyway, this biology teacher in Pakistan was forced to read this while being filmed, of course. Okay, in October 2023, a video of this emerged. Sher Ali is an assistant professor of biology at the government postgraduate degree college in Bannu, capital Bannu. He also holds a Master of Science in zoology from the University of Peshawar. A group of radical clerics with the Deobandi school of Sunni Islam, which is named after the second largest Islamic seminary in the world, they ganged up on him, and I don't know whether they kidnapped him or not, but they forced him to read this. Quote, this is part of it, what he was forced to read. "I consider all intellectual and scientific ideas and theories that go against Allah's Sharia to be falsehoods, such as Darwin's theory of evolution." And going on with what he was forced to read, quote, "I consider the woman observing proper hijab from head to toe when leaving the house, according to Sharia, as a woman's intellect is comparatively less than that of a man from the perspective of Sharia Allahi, in other words, Allah's Sharia. I understand this to be correct." And that's his statement, or part of it, that he was forced to read. Now, another thing that I've said all along is all religions are essentially misogynistic. The one that I had doubts about was what's the witches' religion? Oh God, I'm having a brain freeze. But anyway, we'll come back to it. Okay. Norma Anderson, who is 91 years old, this is a new topic, by the way, is a former GOP legislator from Colorado, is for kicking Trump off the ballot. She is the lead respondent in the case that's being decided by the Supreme Court as we speak. She's a lifelong Republican, but after watching January 6th, she says, "If that isn't insurrection, I don't know what is." Good for her. Moving right along. A convoy of right-wing Jesus-screaming truckers are converging on the Texas-Mexico border to stop the quote-unquote invasion, as MAGA heads call the migrants seeking asylum or escape from violence and poverty in Central American countries. Okay, another sip of orange juice. Kim Yeater, capital Yeater, who's a radio and podcast host, recently told a Christian broadcaster that the Take Back Our Border convoy was a God movement, she said. Texas Representative Keith Self, capital SELF, who's a Republican, of course, said on Fox Business that as many as 700,000 truckers would be taking part. Actually, about 30 trucks and less than 100 assorted election deniers, QAnon believers, climate change deniers, and other right-wing nuts came along. It was considerably less than forecasted. While we're down in Texas, that state has passed a bill that allows unqualified chaplains to serve as public schools guidance counselors. Florida, Indiana, and Alabama are considering similar bills. What could possibly go wrong? Kids won't come to these religious nuts with their problems of growing up or identity issues that they're struggling with. These guidance counselors will just whip out a Bible and say, "Pray!" Okay. Evangelical Christians are infiltrating our school systems and attempting to indoctrinate our young school children. Okay, new topic. Climate change deniers, Republicans, all of them, are getting nasty and are using ad hominem attacks on scientists. Some of the scientists, such as Michael Mann, are fighting back with defamation lawsuits. Mann is suing Rand Simberg, R-A-N-D, capital S-I-M-B-E-R-G, of the Competitive Enterprise Institute, a right-wing anti-science outfit. Okay, update as of yesterday. Michael Mann has been awarded $1 million in punitive damages from Rand Simberg and his buddy Mark Steyn, capital S-T-E-Y-N. The verdict of the jury was unanimous. Both Simberg and Steyn, in my opinion, are right-wing Trumpers and tools of the fossil fuel industry. Okay. I'm trying to slow this whole thing down because honestly, I don't have enough notes to fill up a whole 58 minutes worth of my ranting. Here's the end bit that I was going to end with. Okay. The Federalist Society for Law and Public Policy Usually, when they make the headlines, uh, the news people just call them the Federalist Society. Anyway, it was founded in 1982 by conservative Yale Law School, comma, Harvard Law School, comma, and University of Chicago Law School students. They are definitely libertarian conservatives, if not more right wing than that. It is the de facto gatekeeper for far right wing wannabe federal judges at all levels. The Federalist Society had a list of judges that they forwarded to the orange sociopathic bloat bag during his administration, from which he would recommend federal appellate judges and Supreme Court judges. Well, Amy Coney Barrett, Neil Gorsuch, oh God, brain freeze. The I like beer crybaby Supreme Court justice. All of them were recommendations of the Federalist Society. Okay. I'm looking through my clippings. Oh. New Utah law restricts access to bathrooms by trans people. What are they going to do? Assign a police officer to every bathroom in Utah? Are you a real boy or are you a real girl? Take your pants down and let me have a look. Oh, God. Utah will prohibit transgender people from using bathrooms in public schools and government-owned buildings that align with their gender identity after Governor Spencer Cox signed a bill on Tuesday imposing the restrictions. Now, who would have put a bill forward? Republicans, of course. The bill, House Bill 257, which passed the legislature last week, set sweeping restrictions for transgender people. Under the bill, also known as sex-based designations for privacy. Well, if these Republican MAGA-heads were really for privacy, how would anybody know that a transgender person used a bathroom that did not align with their birth gender? I forget the name of the person who was talking about this, but it was a transgender girl. In other words, she was a boy at birth. She was saying that what is the big deal? If you have to go to the bathroom, you just go in there, you get into a stall, you do your business, you clean up, and leave. What is the big deal? And here, I'm all for that. Okay, and if I can dredge through all my past notes and find out who that was that said that, I will let you know on the next show. Okay? I'm going to have to end it here, and it's nowhere near being 58 minutes, but this is all I've got to offer, and I promise you that I will fill out a full 58 minutes next week. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. And I can't emphasize this enough. Pet your cats. It's a great stress reliever. And I actually feel a little bit sorry for people who don't have a cat in their lives. Okay? All right. Until next week, think logically, think rationally, and you'll do fine with your lives.